Hello and welcome. This is ASO TV News. I am Tina Oje Achu. The headlines. President Tinubu meets Kwara State Governor, slams cowardly attack on innocent villagers in Woro community. Lawmakers summon Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading Acting MD over 2025 regulatory funds. FCT Minister Barrister Wike inspects judiciary projects, assures timely delivery. FCT Emergency Management Department partners NIA Foundation to distribute food items to 300 vulnerable FCT households. And now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has condemned in the strongest terms the deadly attack on innocent villagers in Woro, Kaima local government area of Kwara State, describing it as cowardly, inhumane, and an affront to Nigeria's shared values and faith. The president disclosed that he met with the executive governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, to receive a detailed briefing on the incident. He expressed outrage that the attackers targeted defenseless civilians as part of what he described as a failed and deliberate campaign of terror. In response to the attack, President Tinubu ordered the immediate deployment of an army battalion to Kaima LGA. The new military command will lead Operation Savannah Shield with a mandate to neutralize the terrorists and safeguard vulnerable communities in the area. The president noted that the attack was particularly disturbing because the victims were killed for resisting forced indoctrination. He commended members of the community who, despite being Muslims, refused to embrace an extremist ideology that glorified violence rather than peace and dialogue. He reaffirmed that Nigeria would never allow terrorism and extremism to masquerade as religion. President Tinubu further directed federal and state security agencies to work closely to provide urgent relief and support to the affected communities while ensuring that the perpetrators are tracked down and brought to justice. He stressed that those responsible for the atrocity would not escape accountability. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered the immediate deployment of tactical, operational, and intelligence assets to Kaima local government area of Kwara State, following a deadly attack that claimed at least 75 lives. The Nigerian Police Force, in a statement signed on Thursday by the Force Public Relations Officer, Benjamin Hondeyin, condemned the violent attack that occurred on Tuesday, describing it as tragic and deeply disturbing. According to the statement, the IGP extended his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims, as well as to the government and people of Kwara State, assuring Nigerians that the force remains resolute in its duty to protect lives and property. The statement added that in response to the incidents, the Inspector General of Police has ordered the immediate deployment of tactical, operational, and intelligence assets to Kaima and surrounding communities. The force stated that the move is aimed at restoring calm, strengthening security presence, and preventing further violence. The police also confirmed that an intensive manhunt has been launched for the perpetrators and their accomplices, stressing that investigations are ongoing and all available resources have been mobilized to ensure those responsible are identified, arrested, and brought to justice. The House of Representatives has questioned the acting managing director of the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading NBET PLC, Mr. Johnson Akino, over the utilization of 4.099 billion naira accrued from regulatory incomes in 2025 fiscal year. At a session on the 2025 budget performance with the company on Thursday at the National Assembly, Chairman, House Committee on Finance, Mr. James Falake, expressed grave concern over a series of expenditures incurred by the company, including the sums of 377.031 million naira spent on welfare packages out of 377.658 million naira approved budget. Other expenses worth 76.9 2.39 million naira out of 78.838 million naira approved budget, among others. Other lawmakers also demanded explanation on the directive issued by the Chief of Staff to the President banning overseas travels. 470.122 million naira spent on international travels and transport, training out of 479.845 million naira approved budget. The lawmakers also expressed concern over the non-declaration of revenue generated in December 2025 in the document submitted to the committee. The committee's chairman, Mr. Falake, ruled afterwards, stating the resolve to make omnibus requests from NBET, demanding for documentary evidences of all the expenditures incurred throughout 2025, as well as approvals and waivers obtained from relevant authorities, including the presidency. Consequently, the committee resolved to suspend the consideration of the 2026 budget proposal and adjourned to Tuesday, 10th February 2026, during which Accountant General of the Federation is expected to appear. Also, during a separate budget defense session with the Federal Ministry of Finance, members of the committee queried the proposed 2026 budget of 14.325 billion naira, raising concerns over discrepancies in the capital expenditure component. A breakdown of the proposal shows 4.5 billion naira allocated for personnel costs, 4.6 billion naira for overheads, and 5.2 billion naira earmarked for capital projects. However, members of the committee questioned the composition of the capital vote, with the chairman, Mr. James Falake, specifically demanding clarification over figures he described as inconsistent with standard capital budget projections. Responding, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, explained that the disputed capital figure was captured by the Budget Office and includes debt servicing obligations, which he stressed are not part of the ministry's regular capital expenditure. According to the minister, the classification created the appearance of an inflated capital allocation, whereas the bulk relates to statutory debt service entries. Also speaking at the session, Chairman of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, Mohammed Shehu, disclosed that the commission is currently engaging several revenue-generating agencies to resolve long-standing fiscal and remittance issues. He noted that renewed consultations are already yielding progress, with agencies increasingly approaching the commission to address lingering concerns around revenue accountability and framework compliance. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezenwoye Sonweke, has continued inspection of key projects in Abuja ahead of the 3rd anniversary of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. The inspection focused on ongoing judicial infrastructure aimed at improving welfare and strengthening the independence of the third arm of government. Our correspondent, Usman Katan Omar, reports.
The minister visited several ongoing judiciary projects across Abuja as part of routine monitoring ahead of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 3rd year in office. The projects include the Court of Appeal Division Complex, residential quarters for judges and justices, as well as official residencies for heads of courts. According to the minister, the initiative followed a directive by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu shortly after his inauguration to reduce accommodation challenges facing judiciary officers and improve their working environment.
One of the directives of the President to the FCT and FCDA is to see how we can reduce the accommodation burden as it affects the judiciary. Also talk about the welfare and the environment where the state to do their work is very key. So he gave a marching order that, first of all, there should be a Court of Appeal division housing their own structure differently from the administrative headquarters. Luckily for us, we were just there this morning and saw that the work is almost 85–90% ready. Then again, we went to where we're constructing 40 residential houses, 20 for FCT High Court, 10 for the Court of Appeal, and 10 for the Federal High Court.
Barrister Wike explains that the housing project covers judges of the FCT High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Federal High Court, with plans underway for the National Industrial Court. He added that special official residencies known as Houses of Court are also being built for the President of the Court of Appeal and Chief Judges of key courts. The minister dismissed claims by critics that the projects are aimed at compromising judicial independence, insisting that the welfare of judges is critical to democracy.
That's nothing you would do that critics will not criticize. Before now, that care is not taken for the total of government. Before that, they say, look, judges have nowhere to stay to carry out their job efficiently and effectively. Now you are providing it. It becomes an attempt to buy them. How many people can you buy over? So those shouldn't bother us. President means well for the judicial arm of government, which is very, very key. You can't talk about democracy without talking about the judiciary. You can't talk about...
Last year, but expressed confidence that the projects would be completed and ready for inauguration between June and July this year. He described the intervention as unprecedented, noting that it is the first time heads of courts are being provided official residencies, a move he says reinforces the dignity and independence of judiciary. Usman Katun Umar, ASO Television News.
You are watching ASO Television News. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, also on StarTimes TV channel 127 and Free TV channel 507. We are also on the UHF band on channel 38. Still to come, FCT Emergency Management Department partners NIA Foundation to distribute food items to 300 vulnerable FCT households. Stay with us for details of this and more stories.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on earth.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come.
Let's go! Lights, camera, action. Put your mind to it, live the life that you imagine.
Stay connected. Stay with us, starting from Yanga and Jolly.
Thanks for joining us again. As preparations intensify ahead of the forthcoming Federal Capital Territory Area Council election, Senator Philip Tanimo Aduda has held a strategic consultation meeting with major stakeholders from Kwali Area Council. The engagement, led by the chairman of Kwali Area Council, Ms. Danla Adichia, brought together key political leaders, traditional rulers, party stakeholders, and community representatives drawn from across the council. Discussions at the meeting centered on strengthening unity among stakeholders, reviewing prevailing grassroots concerns, and harmonizing strategies ahead of the local government polls. Senator Aduda stressed the importance of inclusive participation, peaceful campaigns, and collective responsibility in ensuring credible, free, and fair elections across the FCT. He called on stakeholders to place the overall interest of the people above personal considerations, noting that sustained cooperation remains critical to consolidating democracy and promoting development at the grassroots. Participants at the meeting reaffirmed their commitment to unity, cooperation, and continuous engagement aimed at deepening democratic governance and accelerating development in Kwali Area Council. The consultative meeting comes amid heightened political activities across the 6 area councils of the FCT as political actors intensify grassroots outreach ahead of the elections. The chairman of the All Progressives Congress in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Alhaji Abdulmalik Usman, has reaffirmed the party's commitment to encouraging and appreciating individuals who contribute to the growth and development of the party at the grassroots. Alhaji Abdulmalik stated this in Kwali during an empowerment program for APC women leaders and persons with Disabilities, organized in solidarity with the chairman of Kwali Area Council, Mr. Danladi Chia. The event held at the late Alhaji Gambo Memorial Town Hall, Kwali. Correspondent Abdullahi Mokhtar tells us more.
The empowerment program for APC women leaders and persons with disabilities, held in solidarity with the chairman of Kwali Area Council, Mr. Danladi Chia, was organized under the town planner Abubakar Sadiq initiative for DC 27. Speaking at the occasion, the FCT chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Alhaji Abdul Malik Usman, commended town planner Abubakar Sadiq for his sustained efforts towards strengthening the party. He urged the beneficiaries, particularly the women, to make productive use of the items given to them and avoid selling them.
They can go home as an empowerment that they will use it to train their children, they will use it to feed their family, they will also use it to campaign for the party.
In his remarks, the chairman of Kwali Area Council and FCT chapter chairman of the Association of Local Government of Nigeria, Algon, Mr. Danladi Chia, expressed appreciation to town planner Abubakar Sadiq for supporting his aspirations. He called on the electorate to always vote for leaders who remember and uplift their grassroots base after being elected.
When you do a good thing, you expect to have a good result in return. So on that note, we are happy and we are appreciating TPS for his intervention for my movement 2027.
Delivering a goodwill message, the FCT Renewed Hope Ambassador Coordinator Alhaji Abdullahi Adamu Kandido described the gesture by town planner Sadiq Ahmed as a demonstration of love and commitment in line with the Renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Town planner Abubakar Sadiq explained the motive behind the initiatives, while invited guests and beneficiaries also share the appreciation for the empowerment program.
Abubakar Sadiq deserves all the commendation. So Mr. President is happy, the Minister of FCT is happy, the party is happy, the Renewed Hope FCT is happy for what we have seen today. And I think it's a good development.
What we are doing at the moment is appreciating the President for making us look like human beings, like Nigerians for the first time, having a ministerial appointee, having young persons in parastatals and agencies as commissioners.
So what TPL Sadiq has done, or he has been doing, is at least he has proven to the people that I am a product of a political party, which is the APC, the largest in Africa.
Our party is much more concerned about taking to the grassroots, empowering the less privileged. And I'm assuring you that more of this will be done in the time coming.
I'm a widow. I can support my family with it. I'm really appreciative.
Godiya ga Allah da muna godiya da wannan bawan Allah da yana taimake mu a kowane lokaci.
A total of 52 sewing machines were distributed to 4 APC women leaders and their assistants from the 4 area councils that make up Abuja South, as well as 40 APC ward women leaders. 2 persons with disabilities from Gwagwalada and Kwali Area Council also benefited. In addition, dozens of wrappers were distributed to women during the colorful ceremony held at the late Alhaji Gambo Memorial Town Hall, Kwali. Abdullahi Mukhtar, ASO Television News.
As part of its Ramadan outreach to ease the burden on the poor, the FCT Emergency Management Department and the NIA Foundation, a non-governmental organization, are to distribute 11 kilograms worth of food packages to 300 households made vulnerable due to disaster in the territory. The director, NIA Foundation, Mr. Abdul Hakim Saludin, made the disclosure during a courtesy visit to FEMD. Abdul Hakim further stated that over 4,000 other vulnerable groups in the FCT would also be reached during the Ramadan outreach. According to Abdul Hakim, the outreach is intended to show empathy to the poor and ensure that they have meals during Ramadan. Responding, the acting Director General of FEMD, Engineer Abdurrahman Mohammed, assured on his commitment to continued collaboration with NIA Foundation. Abdurrahman urged public-spirited Nigerians to emulate the NIA Foundation by assisting the less privileged. Some members of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, FCT Council, have called attention of international media and human rights bodies to what they described as an escalating humanitarian, constitutional and security crisis in Amasiri community in Ebonyi State. The members, Princess Joy Umaga Idam and Choma Okpara, who are also human rights activists and indigenous people of the community, addressed newsmen in Abuja, lamenting an alleged full-scale military invasion of their area. The journalists explained that the crisis, which began as an uninvestigated allegation, already degenerated into collective punishment of civilians with a widespread military presence, political repression, economic paralysis, and violations of the fundamental human rights of residents of the Amasiri clan. Princess Joy specifically alleged systemic discrimination against the community, citing instances where a teacher from Amasiri was reportedly denied registration of pupils for the 2026 Common Entrance Examination in Abakaliki.
The army should leave Amasiri as soon as possible because we are not under war. They should leave Amasiri. If they must stay in anywhere, let them go to that boundary place between Amasiri and Eda. Let them go and station themselves there. 2, we are demanding that all our appointees and elected officials that the governor disbanded be reinstated because he disbanded them. I forgot to mention, after his declaration on Saturday, they picked up, Amasiri has 3 traditional rulers. 2 of them were arrested. The coordinator of Amasiri Development Center was also arrested. They've been in detention. What is their crime? We don't know. So that's where we are. So we also demand that they reopen the schools and that the governor should stop this wish hunting of students in Ebonyi State University and Amasiri indigenes. Thank you very much.
The journalist who maintained that the people of Amasiri are law-abiding citizens and not enemies of the state and deserving of equal protection under the law, stressed that the military must not be deployed as a tool for political vendetta or ethnic repression, notably that Nigeria remains a constitutional democracy governed by the rule of law. Among the mistreatment alleged by the journalist is a discriminatory admission practices students of Ebonyi State University of Amasiri origin are being subjected to, including compulsory presentation of national identification numbers before being allowed into lecture halls. Reports say the Ebonyi State Governor, Francis, we will already order the immediate closure of all schools and government facilities in Amasiri community, Afigbo local government area, imposing a 20-hour daily curfew following the killing of 4 persons in neighboring Okporojo village. The measures were announced as part of resolutions reached at an emergency meeting of the Ebonyi State Security Council, which was convened late Saturday night in Abakaliki. The federal government has taken decisive steps to address public complaints and enforce contractor accountability on major roads projects across the country. This followed a high-level meeting in Abuja between the Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi, and contractors handling key projects, during which concerns over project quality, public safety, and value for money were reviewed. Engineer Umahi disclosed that the ministry received a petition over excessive dust from the ongoing Makurdi 9th Mile Enugu Road project, which poses environmental and health risks to residents. He directed the immediate implementation of dust control measures, warning that failure to comply within 7 days will result in the suspension of the project. On the Maraba, Kefi, Akwanga, Lafia, Makurdi dualization project, the minister ordered the miling and reconstruction of failed sections, including the first 5 kilometers, with contractors given 7 days to commence corrective works. The minister also expressed concern over the slow pace of work on the 7th Ezel Road project in Lagos, noting poor mobilization despite substantial funds already paid. He warned that failure to fully mobilize within the agreed timeline would lead to fund recovery and contractual sanctions. Additional directives were issued to improve highway safety, rehabilitate failed road sections, restore drainage and road furniture, and strengthen corridor monitoring nationwide. Reaffirming the government's commitment to accountability, Engineer Umahi said the Tinubu administration inherited over 2,064 ongoing projects valued at more than 13 trillion naira, adding that despite funding challenges, road construction and rehabilitation continue nationwide. Responding on behalf of the contractors, the Acting Executive Director, Operations of the CHOME, Mr. Stephen Lee, pledged the immediate deployment of standard dust control measures, full mobilization on the 7th Asia Road project, and the rehabilitation of failed sections along the Mararaba-Lafia corridor. A Lagos State High Court has sentenced a truck driver, Okpara Kingsley Oyekachi, to life imprisonment for the killing of a Federal Road Safety Corps officer on duty. The court found the driver guilty of involuntary manslaughter following a fatal crash that occurred in November 2023 at Orele, Igamo, Lagos. According to the FRSC, the driver, who was operating a 40-foot container truck at excessive speed, rammed into a stationary mini truck that had been stopped for inspection, crushing an officer who was carrying out official duties. Reacting to the judgment, the Corps Marshal Shehu Muhammad described the conviction as a landmark victory for justice and road safety enforcement, warning that reckless driving, especially by operators of heavy-duty vehicles, will attract severe legal consequences. He added that the Corps would intensify enforcement and prosecution efforts to curb dangerous driving and protect road users. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has expressed support for Base University's proposed School of Aviation in Buari, Abuja, which will include a dedicated training runway. The minister gave the assurance while receiving the university's Chancellor, Senator Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed, and other top officials on a courtesy visit to the ministry. Baba Ahmed said the project aims to train pilots, maintenance engineers, air traffic controllers, and other aviation professionals, noting the growing global demand for skilled manpower in the sector. He added that the initiative would help Nigeria reduce dependence on foreign training and strengthen its aviation workforce. In his response, Keyamo commended the university's vision, describing the proposed school as a step towards closing the skills gap in the aviation industry. The minister assured the delegation of full institutional support and directed aviation regulatory agencies to fast-track approval processes for the project. And the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Malam Lare Sa Onilu, has described data privacy as a core national value essential to human dignity, trust, and responsible citizenship, as key stakeholders gathered for the second Data Privacy Summit 2026 to discuss privacy in the era of emerging technologies. The summit was organized by the National Data Protection Commission. Issa Onilu said data protection goes beyond technical and regulatory concerns, aligning with NOA's mandate of shaping mindset and strengthening moral and civic values as captured in the National Values Charter. He explained that the Charter promotes dignity, integrity, accountability, and respect for fundamental rights, both offline and online, adding that integrating civic education with data protection will help nurture ethnically aware and digitally responsible citizens. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Esther Watson-Jack, who also delivered a goodwill message at the event, stressed that emerging technologies are rapidly transforming governance and service delivery, making data protection fundamental to ethical governance, accountability, and sustainable innovation. From the security perspective, the Director, Nigeria Police Force National Cyber Crime Center, Commissioner of Police Oche Ifeanyi Henry, who described data as the new product. Driving modern institutions and national security warned that cybercrime and data breaches now pose serious threats globally and in Nigeria. He highlighted the effort of the Nigerian police force in tackling cybercrime and called for stronger collaboration to address trust and security challenges. Meanwhile, the National Identity Management Commission, represented by its head of ICT, Engineer Lanre Yusuf, conveyed goodwill messages on behalf of the DG, CEO, Dr. Engineer Abisoye Koka. He assured Nigerians of the safety of their data, disclosed that over 128 million citizens have been captured under the National Identification Number System, and reaffirmed NIM's commitment to a secure and inclusive digital identity management. As part of plans to expanding access to diagnosis, oncology, and cardiology services nationwide, the Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Dun, has commended the landmark agreement between the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, the International Finance Corporation, and MedServ as Nigeria pushes for economic diversification and growth. A statement by the Director of Information and Public Relations to the Federal Ministry of Finance, Mr. Mohammed Manga, disclosed that the minister in Abuja, to witness the signing of the agreement, reaffirmed President Tinubu's commitment to strengthening healthcare through increased investment and effective public-private partnerships, noting that the recent budget gains reflect a clear focus on building resilient social infrastructure. The minister explained that the NSIA's expansion of oncology network has proved that the world-class healthcare assets can be built locally, creating jobs, attracting capital, and reducing Nigeria's multi-billion-dollar medical tourism spend. Mr. Edun further commended IFC's role, describing the agreement as a scalable model that combines financing and technical expertise to unlock private investment and widen access to care, with additional support from the World Bank. According to the statement, the minister called for replication of the NSIA MedServ model across other sectors, saying it is a template for inclusive growth, stronger public services, and long-term economic resilience. And that's the bulletin. Before we go, let's take another look at one of our major stories. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, has continued inspection of key projects in Abuja ahead of the 3rd anniversary of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. And that's the news. I am Tina Oje Achu. Many thanks for watching.